For the past few weeks, I've been asking myself, how did we get here? And no, contrary to the title, I'm not talking about the current state of Deadpool. I'm talking about the current state of humanity. Corruption, wars, genocides, the rise of fascist populists, climate change slowly baking us alive, social media algorithms destroying our minds, AI and automation taking jobs, unions being crushed, housing prices forever rising, homelessness criminalized, bribery legalized, pedophilia normalized, impoverished citizens are turned to slaves while billionaire oligarchs are unashamed, mass shootings, assassinations, hurricanes, segregation. Thank you so much. When I was done considering all that, I started thinking about Deadpool. Nowadays, Wade Wilson is synonymous with not only Ryan Reynolds' unique and borderline suffocating brand of referential humor, but also with Redditors being the most unfunny people on the planet. But at one point, before there were fans workshopping hilarious jokes for future Marvel films online, there was legendary comics writer and artist Rob Liefeld's 1990 original character. No fourth wall breaks, no brony jokes, and definitely no chimichangas. In fact, in his comics debut, Deadpool was a serious threat. Ruthless, psychotic, and tragic, Liefeld's Wade Wilson is a far cry away from the character we all know today. So, how did he change so much over the years? Well, after reading some old Deadpool books myself and conducting incredibly thorough research via the Deadpool wiki, Reddit, and this very helpful article from acriticalhit.com, I believe I found the answer. When Deadpool was first introduced in New Mutants 98, creator Rob Liefeld wanted the character to be a blend of Wolverine and Spider-Man, two of his favorite characters that Marvel editorial had made off-limits for his New Mutants run. With the savagery and bloodlust of Logan, and the quips and jovial demeanor of Peter Parker, Deadpool served as a recurring antagonist for the New Mutants, and eventually X-Force. He was also clearly a ripoff of DC's Deathstroke, but this isn't surprising, as Liefeld is just as infamous for shamelessly ripping off character designs as he is for these, incredible images. In fact, Deadpool was so obviously a Deathstroke clone that New Mutants dialogue writer Fabian Nicieza jokingly named the character Wade Wilson, to mirror DC's Slade Wilson. Thankfully, besides the name and design, Liefeld and crew didn't borrow any other characteristics from the Titan's own Lethal Predator. Reading these first appearances of Mr. Pool is fascinating, because even though the blueprints of the character are there, it's all extremely dialed back. His quips are more like a mean-spirited Spider-Man than they are like that one guy who only wears cargo pants and Zelda graphic tees. Arguably the most influential writer for the character came along in 1997, when Joe Kelly with artist Ed McGuinness started work on Deadpool's very first ongoing series. This is when we get the real meat of the character. We get his own cast of side characters, his full tragic backstory, and really get to know that despite all the violence and sadistic tendencies, Wade Wilson, underneath it all, has a heart of gold. Kelly also introduced an element that is now inseparable from the character: fourth wall breaks. Throughout the run, Deadpool seems to become more and more self-aware that he's in a comic book. It's never as in your face as it is nowadays, but Wade will occasionally make a comment about the art style or an offhand remark about the issue number. Once Kelly had left the book at issue 33, the following writers continued the trend of Wade's increasing awareness of his own fictional being. All of the early fourth wall breaks have a tone of existential nihilism, where we see the character justifies his own tragic state by claiming that nothing actually matters. The jokes here actually enhance Deadpool's character development. Even during the years of Gail Simone's run on the character, when she really leaned into Deadpool's pop culture references and topical jokes, the character remained consistent. Behind all the quips, dick jokes, celebrity references, and fourth wall breaks, Deadpool was still just a man who had lost everything to cancer, and then to his mentally and physically scarring mutation. He was a character who seemed to be actively fighting against being a hero, running away from opportunities to do the right thing. However, for one reason or another, Deadpool kept finding himself becoming more and more of a hero, despite his intentions. And that was actually interesting. But that all changed when author Daniel Way took over the character. When Way started writing Deadpool in 2008, the character had, at this point, developed a very online and very rabid cult following.
You're too online, okay? You've lost context.
The fans loved Deadpool's references and jokes and wanted more. Over the years, he had become more and more of a meme, and Daniel Way knew that the only path forward was to not only double down on this, but quadruple down. Suddenly, Wade Wilson wasn't burdened by his tragic past. He wasn't masking his own self-hatred and loneliness with violence and humor. It seems like Wade didn't know what a sociopath is, which is how Deadpool had been previously classified, and instead he just made him schizophrenic. Wade suddenly has two distinct voices in his head, and we, for the first time, are shown how he sees the world via something called hulovision. So, the reason he's so violent and careless about human life isn't because of some type of complex backstory or character flaw. No, he just sees the world as a cartoon, I guess. And the original fans of the character, the ones who online wanted more jokes, more memes, well, they quickly realized that sometimes too much of a good thing is a very bad thing. However, it did seem to pick up a new fan base, a younger crowd who really liked this type of humor. And so, Daniel Way just kept on going in that direction. Deadpool would make absolutely epic zingers, like calling this guy a jerk, idiot, poop eater. Now that's funny. Deadpool's fate was seemingly sealed when High Moon Studios began development on a Deadpool video game and hired Daniel Way to write the script. The game continues and cements Way's characterization of Deadpool, depicting him with voices in his head and his entire character motivation basically being one big fourth wall break. I played this game myself back in the day, and although I found the gameplay monotonous and kinda janky, I did think the irreverent humor was hilarious. I was also 12 years old. Looking back on the game now, it just irritates me. Maybe that's because we've had over 10 years of unfunny people online trying to write Deadpool jokes, or maybe it's because I associate this version of the character with ugly Deadpool Hot Topic shirts. Or maybe it's simply because this game was never funny and I just grew up and refined my tastes. I no longer enjoy the likes of Deadpool the video game. Now I appreciate highbrow cinema, like Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2, Ya Got Mooned, the Snyder Cut Ultimate Edition, Justice is Gay. But this game really took off amongst the younger crowd of fans, and I think that because of this, paired with the already established new crowd of Deadpool fans from Way's 2008 run, the character was trapped. He was now and forever Memepool. And hey, if you find this game funny and you find Memepool funny, that's good for you. Genuinely. I have absolutely no ill will towards anyone who enjoys this version of the character, and even though I have said multiple times in this video that people who make Deadpool jokes online are annoying, keep doing it if it makes you happy. I'm annoying. I don't care. Be annoying. Be you. Enjoy what you enjoy. It. But the fact of the matter is, this character had lost so much depth, so much nuance, and so much unique personality, all to be traded for this. For Deadpool, all seemed to be lost. But then, in 2016, a hero emerged. Deadpool, starring Ryan Reynolds, debuted to financial and critical success. This film overtook the legacy of the game easily, and now when normies think of Deadpool, they think of the movies. I see a lot of folks online claim that Ryan Reynolds further cemented the character's reputation as Memepool, but I really strongly disagree with that assessment. In my opinion, both the first and second Deadpool films absolutely understand the character. Yes, they do heavily rely on fourth wall breaks, often already dated pop culture references and raunchy humor, but importantly, I think Reynolds understands that this character doesn't work at all without tragedy. When you look at both of these movies on paper, they don't sound funny. The plots and character arcs themselves are really dark and tragic. Of course, watching the movies, I'd hardly classify these films as tragic, but they for sure have a darker undercurrent, and I think Reynolds' performance is far more nuanced, especially in the sequel, than people often give him credit for. Now, he's not going to win any awards for these things, of course, but he's also not just doing his usual shtick either. There's a bit more cynicism and sadness to his performance than I think casual fans who haven't seen the movies since they came out really remember. He plays the character more like how Simone or Kelly wrote him. So hopefully, the comics can continue to actually learn from the films here. There is more to this character than memes, because behind the jokes, the violence, and the profanity, there's just the smallest hint of humanity. And with a character as overbearing and obnoxious as this, that humanity makes all the difference.